I still really like the Retroflag, but there's one massive reason as to why you shouldn't buy it.
Oh, Andy.
Oh,
are you the king of clickbait?
Oh,
because I looked through the comments and it seems like you might be.
Possibly.
So the Retroflag is still your favourite, but there's a big reason not to buy it.
Yeah, I don't know about favourite.
Because I would look through your recent videos and say the MOBA pads are probably your favourite.
Yeah, I love
M6 HDs.
The MOBA pads are amazing.
They are the king, okay?
They're so good.
But there's a good reason to look back at a kind of grip-con style controller.
Totally. Yes.
Because firstly, it's a different style that a lot of people gravitate towards.
Yeah, handheld only.
But also the Retroflag kind of kicked things off in this... this kind of Hall effect generation for the Switch.
That was it. Yeah, that was what really tipped it for me at the time. Was, as far as my memory goes,
we're saying it was.
This was the first Switch Joy-Con alternative that had Hall effect sensing joysticks.
Yeah,
and obviously this is totally different because it's not just Joy-Cons.
Yeah,
this is a dockable, like you said, like a grip-con style thing that replaced the Joy-Cons for handheld only play and introduced so many things that at the time we just didn't see.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's still great to this day, but there's definitely drawbacks.
I mean, straight up, I do love the aesthetics of it.
Me too.
I always do. Firstly, it scratched that GameCube itch.
Exactly.
For the colour straight away. Exactly. It's like, oh, okay.
And it doesn't show on camera very well, but it is translucent.
It is translucent.
And I would still dare say it's more translucent like blue than purple. Ooh. But it's difficult because there's a purple tinge to it. But if you've got a GameCube controller out, it's not GameCube purple.
That's true. It's not as deep, is it?
No, but it's not as dark as it looks on any video.
But there's obvious nods to the GameCube.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, firstly...
It's got the C-stick nub.
The nub. The yellow nub as well.
Everyone loves the yellow nub. Also, the other GameCube stick topper on this side, which is, again, reminiscent. And also the colouring of the face buttons.
Now, when did the Retroflag release? It was a year ago now, wasn't it?
I think it was longer than that now.
Honestly?
Yeah, I think so. It was between 1 and 2 years ago, I would say.
Wow.
I don't know if it's that old. I don't remember. We've seen so many controllers and Joy-Con alternatives. It all flies by me.
Could be any amount of time.
10 years ago? 15?
Yeah, why not?
I don't remember. When did it came out when the GameCube came out? 2002.
Did it really?
Yeah, it's been 22 years.
So they released this before the Switch?
They were waiting for Nintendo to catch up.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's what happened, yeah.
So let's just say it did. It opened the door to the Hall effect sensing joysticks for the Switch, at least.
Yes.
And in my mind, anyway, the Retroflag opened the door to let's take Nintendo Switch controller alternatives more seriously.
Yeah.
Let's introduce more pro features into them.
Absolutely, because we'd seen sort of more budget-friendly Joy-Con alternatives.
Well, yeah, the Hori kind of came along with the split pads.
Yeah.
And...
lacking,
very lacking, but they were the first decent Joy-Con alternatives.
Yeah, totally.
But we were still lacking, at least decent joysticks, but also buttons, and layouts as well.
Yes,
alternative layouts,
and just the overall build quality. Yeah, of other companies that were available, they felt cheap in comparison to this. The build quality of this is really nice.
Now there was other grip-con, is that the right word for this?
That's what we're going to be saying.
I'm making it up.
Yeah, it's good.
There was other grip-cons that came around, but they were super budget, horrible, really plasticky things.
We saw one from Binbach, and it wasn't as nice as their Joy-Con alternatives.
I actually found one the other day here in the pile of discarded controllers that you dumped on me the other day. Here, have these.
I was here's 2 lorry loads. Beep, beep. Yeah, that was it.
I found one the other day, a grip-con, and it's one of those that it wasn't a full backing, it was just a strip across, and then 2, they looked identical to Joy-Cons. I think it was a Binbach one.
No, you're thinking of a different one. I know exactly what that was.
It predated the Retroflag, but it is awful.
Yeah, that is terrible. I don't even know if I made a video. It's that bad.
Because let's be honest, the Joy-Cons in of themselves aren't great.
No.
They're innovative for their time.
Yeah, the whole point of changing them is to get something better.
Not something that's the same or worse.
That
just happens to be attached to each other. So when this came along, the idea of not just having more pro or an alternative style of controller for the Switch, but also the fact that it was a Switch grip as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It changed the ergonomics and everything.
Yes.
Yeah. With the GameCube aesthetics. But one of the biggest things, and this is one thing that I really praised Retroflag for doing, was having GameCube aesthetics, but keeping the Switch layout. Because the GameCube button layout is not the same.
No.
It changes the location of the buttons.
Yeah.
And playing modern games, if you're not already used to the GameCube layout, on the Switch is difficult.
Yes.
And an average Joe would find it confusing.
The button layout's completely different.
Yes.
On the
So it kicks,
Cube.
on the GameCube, the A goes down.
Yeah.
Like it shifts everything to the left.
Yeah.
And obviously A is a massive one in the center with Y, X and B like around it.
Like browed.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a bit odd unless you already are used to it, like, and know the buttons. So for normal people, it's not like great. But this kept it Switch layout, so you could just play all your favorite games whilst having that sort of retro feeling of the GameCube, and I loved that.
Can you put the Switch in it for me?
I can, yeah. But before we do, we've got felt backing.
Beautiful felt backing.
Really nice.
Stops it scratching.
Stops it scratching.
Great.
They've thought about it. They've gone, you know what? Got a big old hunk of plastic here.
Yep.
Let's stick some protection on
because
there.
We're precious about our Switches and our Switch OLEDs. We want to look after the back of them.
Absolutely. So, and also we've got let's think about the original Switch, because this takes the Switch and the Switch OLED.
Of course.
So we've got some vent holes here for the original Switch, not for the OLED, but for the original Switch.
Yeah.
We think about that. All good. Okay. And then, what happens when we slide the Switch in? Oh, nice and smooth. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it needs to click in, doesn't it?
Yeah, it needs to lock in somehow.
Needs to lock in by just sliding that in there.
Didn't sound very nice.
Didn't sound very good, did it? So let's take it back out, which is just pressure.
Oh God.
You know what would be really cool, guys? If we put metal clips inside to lock the Switch in where the Joy-Con rails are. Yeah, you know what happens when you put like unprotected metal against metal?
It scratches the paint off.
It scratches the paint off. So yeah, on my Switch.
Yeah.
Oh, there. That's what I think of that. I've got massive scrapes down the paint.
That's pretty nasty.
It's ripped the black paint off entirely. Like, it's completely gone. There's huge scratches.
Interestingly, one of the most popular videos we've ever done is the felt padding inside the Switch dock to stop the screen scratching when you dock it.
Yeah.
There's no workaround for that.
No.
They're literally metal springs that pop out.
Yep.
That once the metal lip at the bottom of the Switch goes past, they'll go into the recess where the Joy-Cons normally anchor in.
Yeah. If it was plastic, it wouldn't be as big of a problem.
The flip side, though, Andy, is if they were plastic, they would break really quickly.
That's all right. I'd rather
but they wouldn't scratch your screen.
Yeah, exactly. True. And whilst we're talking about physical negatives of this, before we get on to anything else, you know how you change games on the Nintendo Switch?
I can already see the problem. Yeah.
You got to lift.
You got to lift that and pull it back.
You just try and open that for me.
Oh, it won't.
It doesn't open.
It won't open
because there's no recess.
No.
So what you've got to do is
every time
risk scratching it even worse by sliding that half out to then open up your game cart slot, change the game, and then go, you know what? Let's scratch it some more. Oh, okay. There we go.
That's horrible.
But once you're over that.
So, once you're over that, or if you've just played digital only games, then you're fine.
That's very true, actually. Yeah.
Can I?
You can. He's only doing this because I've got Final Fantasy in this, right?
Oh wait, this is Crisis Core. There's some missions. Let's have a look at this.
So we've got Crisis Core in there at the minute.
Okay. So you talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to play some Final Fantasy 7. The D-pad is really nice.
D-pad is fantastic. Full-size D-pad.
Full-size. Let me turn the volume down so we don't have to hear that. Full-size D-pad. It's not. It's tricky because it's not mechanical in any way, but it doesn't crunch like some of those other membrane D-pads do. There's no crunch to it at all, which means rolling's actually really satisfying.
Yeah,
nice.
It is a really decent D-pad.
Also, it's huge. Like
it's
I said,
massive.
Full-size D-pad. So, and they've made it concave as well, which means when your thumb's in it, the idea of rolling actually feels really nice. It's almost like the bowl shape you get on the MOBA pads.
Yes, no, I get you, yeah. That is one of the biggest features. I mean, Retroflag make other controllers, like retro style controllers, and they've got some good D-pads going on here. And this is like, if not the best D-pad I felt on a Joy-Con alternative.
Yeah.
It's right up there. It really is right up there. It's such a good D-pad, and it is huge again, like double the size of anything else you see. Go on.
Okay. I'm not the biggest fan of the staggered layout.
The asymmetrical, that's just the Switch problem, isn't it?
It's a Switch problem, I know. I definitely prefer the Steam Deck idea where both are at the top.
We've been spoiled with the Steam Deck.
Definitely have. And I will say that this joystick feels too far away from my thumb.
Yeah, so you're on about the ergonomics now.
Ergonomics.
Of how it actually sits in your hands.
It's not... The joystick itself feels and behaves really nicely.
Yeah, they're nice.
Very little friction to it. The travel's nice. Just the position's just a little bit wrong. The fact that I'm stuck with a nubbin on this side is both good and bad, because the nubbin's cool.
Yeah, I love the nub. Yep.
But if you don't like the nub,
you're screwed.
You're not changing the top on that.
You can't change it, no. And also, you then have the problem of it being asymmetrical. And despite the fact that this has got some good grip going on, like it's actually got some nice controller horns to hold on to.
Yeah.
You still have the age-old problem of you cannot get your thumb to that comfortably. If you hold it to yourself properly, to like that, you've got to don a bit of a loose grip to actually get your thumb down.
I can't properly grip the horns. I have to, like you say, loosen that grip and
down,
bring my wrist out a little bit.
Yeah, which is, the only sort of dockable style thing that corrects this is the Satisfy Zen Grip Pro, or Zen Grip Pro Ronin, which uses the actual official Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
And you slide the whole Switch into it, and it's got like an offset both sides. So they've actually ergonomically correctly made it so that your thumb hits this stick perfectly and this stick perfectly. So this side kicks out more than that side with the Zen Grip. Okay. It's brilliant. Yeah. It's absolutely perfect.
The shoulder buttons are really nice. The bumpers feel good.
Yeah, the
triggers are nice.
Triggers are nice. I'm pretty sure I had an issue when I originally tested it with the triggers not actuating if you lightly press them, or it might have been that if you press them too far, they stopped actuating. There was an issue with the triggers that I had, and I don't remember specifically. Just go watch the original review.
They're not full analog triggers. These are literally on and off switches. There's a little bit of pre-travel, and then it's a switch on.
Yeah.
And then loads of post-travel.
Yes.
So it depends if you like that kind of almost like a sprung trigger feel.
Yeah.
It's definitely that.
But overall, they're actually nice. Yes. They feel good. Good quality.
And overall, it's a huge, the mammoth improvement this was over the Joy-Cons.
Oh, yeah. This is such a good choice.
It feels really premium.
Yeah, it does feel premium. The build quality of this is lovely.
Yeah.
It feels like an amazing bit of kit. It actually feels like next level compared to some of the other things. I know it's got issues.
The rumble's nice.
Yeah, the rumble is good. It's a nice weighty, deep rumble, isn't it?
It's a slow
tinny.
rumble.
Yeah. A nice wide, sort of heavy rumble.
Yeah.
That a lot.
Which is it's lacking in a lot. The rumble's so hit and miss, isn't it?
It's so hit and miss. It really is. But this one, I like the rumble. It's not something I disliked. One thing is that you've probably seen there's a USB-C connector on the base, and it actually docks the Switch into this, so that's a pass-through. No, you cannot dock from this. I've tried. So I've tried with a cable. Yeah. So you can't pass through dock with a third. That would be cool. It would be cool. Something that's going to be possible with the competitor, the cracked Nitro Deck Plus. That's
It's interesting because we're at a point where I would have thought they would have stopped making accessories for the Switch by now.
No, they're still going. Yeah,
cracked out. The Nitro Deck Plus is coming. End of April, I think it is.
I think it is, yeah.
So really
end of this month, yeah. And so anyway, you've got this dock bit here, and that means that the Switch needs to be set to enable wired Pro Controller. If you have that setting turned off, this will not work.
I see.
So you have to go into settings first before you dock this and say enable wired communications for controllers or whatever, and then it will work. But obviously it's a leech. There's no battery in this. So it's pulling the battery power from the Switch. The benefit is there's no RGB LEDs or anything like that. So it's just pretty much the rumble that's sucking the battery. Because, I mean, the input to the joysticks and stuff, it's going to be so small. But the rumble will take up the most of it. It's still got some features as well. So it's not just this, even though there's no back paddles on the back, which originally I thought there would have been.
It feels like it's made for it, isn't it? Some like programmable back buttons.
But there isn't. But what this does do is it does have turbo, and you do actually have button swap. So you can swap the buttons around. So
is it true button swap?
Yeah. So you can, this is like button replace, let's say.
Yeah.
So you could put B as the right stick in.
Yeah.
You know, so you can actually like move, but you can't, it has to be a 1-for-1 swap.
Oh, I see.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you could swap
like
A and Y.
Transfer.
Yeah. You could swap like A and Y together, so they're like inverted.
Yeah.
Or like B and L1 or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And so that was quite a cool feature. Like, I quite like that. It's got rumble. Obviously, we've spoken about that briefly. Hall effect sensing joysticks was the selling point of this.
Huge selling
and the
point.
D-pad, to be perfectly honest.
And it still is a selling point.
It is still a really good selling point for this, yeah.
What is the price point on them at the moment?
Price point, I mean, here in the UK, I can't say for anywhere else, but in the UK, if you're looking at Amazon to buy one of these, they're basically 50 quid, which is the cracked Nitro Deck price for the Nitro Deck V1. Not the new Plus, that's more expensive, but yeah, so that's its main competitor is the Nitro Deck for sure. But if you ordered one of these from China, so if you ordered it from AliExpress, you can pick one of these up for 35 quid, and that I'd say is worth it.
Oh, that's incredible.
For £35, absolutely. For 50 quid, you've got better options out there, I would say.
Tricky, I guess. Yeah, you do have better options on paper. There's the question of aesthetics. This look is very strong and it's very strong, appealing.
And I love the GameCube aesthetic. I do. And I personally love the nub.
Yes.
I'm okay. Like having a slightly looser grip to get to that right stick.
I will say, probably my biggest bugbear is the lack of kickstand on it.
Yeah, it's annoying, isn't it? And
really annoying.
Like balancing it on the USB-C.
It's going to fall on its face.
yeah.
It's just literally balancing on that bit. Yeah. That's not cool.
It's not great. But yeah, I mean, for me, there's a huge downside, which I said at the beginning, which is it scratches your Switch. It damages your Switch. And for me, I like to keep everything of mine pristine. Yeah. I know I like test so many like Joy-Cons and stuff, so I know there's a risk of me scratching stuff. I'm not like an average user that will buy like one alternative maybe and then just always have it on. I'm like daily swapping it in and out of like so many different things. I expect it to be scratched at some point, but not as badly as this. And also after everything we've tested in however many years we've been testing all these things, nothing has scratched my Switch other than this.
Yeah.
This has been the only one, and it is stripped of the paint.
And you wouldn't have used it for that long?
No. I would have tested it for a couple of weeks and it would have been docked into it. So just the few times I've taken it in and out.
I guess I will say that if you're getting a Grip-Con style alternative, you're going to leave it in there.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But
only not even once.
Go back to that inherent problem. You are going to have to keep taking it in and out in order to change the games over.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Overall, I love it, and I still think it's very valid now.
I still love it, but I definitely think at that £35 price point,
incredible value.
That's the price you want to be paying.
Yeah.
I would say if you're going to pay 50 quid, get the Nitro Deck instead, by Cracked. Even though that does have worse ergonomics.
Yeah.
It's got more features. So it can do more than this can.
I'm more on the fence than you, definitive.
Yeah, you really think?
Yeah, I'd say it's more of a coin toss. And I think it'd be depending on what shape you prefer and what colours you prefer.
It's absolutely that. I mean, colour-wise, obviously the Nitro Deck comes in at like so many different colours and stuff. But for me, it's just the fundamental flaws here of you cannot change the game.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And I'm a physical collector on Switch. I've got like walls of games. Having to physically pull the Switch out just to swap the game is annoying, right? And then also the fact that it's just going to damage your Switch, like that's annoying. If those two things were fixed, then it would be a much tougher call. Yeah. But that alone is enough for me to say, like, I would probably buy a Nitro Deck over this.
Well, while you close the video, I'm going to finish playing Final Fantasy VII.
So that's been our look at the Retroflag Handheld Controller,
Yes.
because that's its
sorry.
name. Did you know that? Can we before we leave?
It's the Retroflag Handheld Controller.
It's called the Handheld Controller.
As opposed to what other type of controllers?
The foot-held controller.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the It's not the Retroflag like Joy-Con something. I don't know. They could have called it.
It's weird that it's called a handheld controller because they're all handheld.
Yeah.
I guess because the Switch is handheld. I see what they've done there. It's to play the Switch handheld
in the handheld controller
with the controller for the handheld.
Then
Anyway,
you
we've wrapped it on too long.
Anyway, whilst you're still here, if you still are, then make sure you like this video. We've got memberships open.
Whoa, yes.
What does that entail, AJ?
Well, you get early access to these videos, but also the biggest thing is you get to join our Discord, where you get to ask us questions for the podcast and share memes.
Yes.
Mainly.
Yes. And just talk about gamings or controllers or whatever
all of that stuff.
Want to do.
There's also other videos smashed between our faces.
Just here. Do it. Watch these.
Them. So then, bye, I guess.
Yeah. Bye.
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 Bye.